What's going on, everybody? Friday night. Tonight I am solo. Nicole got wicked sick the last couple of days, so she's taking the night off, and it's just me. So it's going to be traffic questions and RC technical information. But in all seriousness, just going to kind of hang out tonight. I did get the new Capra 4-wheel steer version. Finally showed up a little late, but I'm going to open that box. I haven't even opened the shipping box that it came in. So that's going to be what we talk about a little bit. And other than that, we're just going to kind of hang out, and I'll try and pay attention and ask or answer as many questions as possible. So hope you all had a good week. I am streaming, even though tonight is also the 24 hours of Les Mullets. So from nobody tell me the results of that race, because I'm going to watch the rerun myself. Yes, it's a classy night. There's wine. And Nicole's not here to spill it. So I was working on friend Rob's G-Speed earlier today. So got a couple little things to finish up on this thing before it goes out. I was working on the rear chassis brace situation. So that's ready to go. And I'll hit the print button on that before I go to bed tonight. And then this thing will be pretty much done. Moose Jaw's got a few bodies to drop, more than a few bodies to drop off to me. Not necessarily of mine, like one is for this truck, a couple of others for Rob. So it's not, I haven't taken all of his time yet. Ben is correct. It is a Cabernet. So hope everybody, again, had a good week. The end of it, weekend's here. I gotta figure out if I'm gonna go drive toy trucks this weekend or if I'm going to work on projects. I did get the TRX 4000 video up last night. So if you didn't catch that video went up at least. So got an update on that truck done. So many things that were just like done and just needing this or that, but just got pushed off because of all of the things that were being released and had to be worked on, and the whole thing was just. So now I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna get a bunch of those things done and out the door so that I can just breathe a little bit easier. So that's what's going on. Let me adjust something really quickly so I can read these comments a little bit faster. There we go. Make it bigger so that I can actually see. But yeah. This is the box that came in the mail for the Capra. Are you going to sell the 4000? I mean, I feel like I can't sell it. I would lose so much money by selling it that it's better off. I'm better off just keeping it. Just the cost of just the battery alone is what would have been a reasonable price to sell that truck for. The guy who famously hates unboxing videos is opening a box. That is true. The difference is I'm not going to talk about the box. We're just going to open it. Come on. Yeah. 4-wheel steer Capra. There's a different photo on every corner. Let's in depth discuss what every photo and the text says on every panel of the box. Damn it. There's 3 factory seals, not just one. Okay. Get out of the box. Hey, I got the red one. Radio. Radio, Capra. Let's see. I never got an RTR Capra. I only ever had the kit version. So I've never had an RTR SCX10 either. So this will be the first one that I have with that Firma 40 all-in-one system. We had a sign of an Axial though. We got a what? But it's in the center. It's not even over the shock. Why is that? Huh? I don't know why. I don't see any. Got it front and rear though. Hmm. There we go. Instructions, destructions, the whole. So, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the red? I don't hate it. I don't hate the red. I honestly, you know. Oh, that's. So I've never had the RTR version, but it's got black electrical tape right here holding the wire for this light bar. That's kind of cheesy. Maybe it's shrink tube? No, it's electrical tape. I can see it. That's weird. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why it needs that even. So I don't like painted cages. I think that they almost always look terrible almost immediately. But the molded color cages, like with the Rift had the orange and all that, I didn't think looked too bad. And I think that I feel the same way about this red one. So yeah, is that it'll look at that. So I like four-wheel steer. I think that it's a cool, different dynamic for driving. I think that it will take some getting used to for people, but it's a powerful thing if you can drive it. And I think that this will kind of give a bit of a different novelty to it to get people to be interested in this. Now, I have not been the biggest champion of the Capra at this point, and they didn't fix the things that I didn't like. The transmission, being the main one. I thought that it sat a little tall, and I think that the gearing was bad in the transmission. So those didn't get fixed. We do know the fixes for those things, and we're gonna work around that. But for now, I'm gonna mainly gonna focus on the whole package as it is. Now let's judge the quality of these double A's, like Rich was, Johnny Loomy was asking. These are some GP Ultras. I don't know, some questionable quality here. That's you know what that's what I'm gonna do from now on is double A battery reviews on every new kit. We're gonna specifically we're gonna test the voltage on these out of the box just to make sure that the quality here. These 1.594. We're gonna go to 3 decibel places of accuracy. 1.5. That's acceptable. Okay. Passing quality. That was a funny thing that if you guys didn't, that's coming from the live stream we had this Wednesday that we had Rich from Horizon on. He was talking about someone complaining about the quality of the double A's that were included. Looks taller than an SMT10. The Capras are tall. That's definitely the case. I think it's got 100 millimeter shocks on it. 90 millimeters, I think, are a nice fix. I'm not going to do any modifications to this until I go take it out on the rocks and all that, and then I'll get back into it. When I did my first Capra, it was right when the Capra came out, so I put an electronics package in it that was, my kind of normal go-to, and it was just too much. It was too fast. It needed lower gear. So this time, I'm going to give the Capra another shot, and then we'll go from there. So we'll give it a fair shake. Again, I like the look. I like the red. I think the Curry livery looks good. I don't hate what they did here at all. Will the VFD Twin come out as a standalone? Yes, at some point. Just like the VFD that came in the Pro when it very first came out, it was a while down the road when that transmission became a separate kit, though. So that will be the same. Will be the same situation. Got to be tall to clear those servos on Axial. I mean, that is true. There is, but when you're just articulating, you don't need as much. It's just when you do that full compression, which you almost never do. Is the rear steel proportional? Ben, you're always asking the good questions. I don't know. I could probably look in the manual. I believe that it's on a multi-position, or I believe that it's just all the way left, all the way right, which I don't, for me, like when competing with rear steer and all that, I did not want proportional rear steer. Like I don't want rear steer mixed with my steering wheel. I want it on a separate button that I can control. Now, I don't necessarily like just center all left or all right. I usually had set mine up with 5 positions. So center, 50% and 100%, and then same the opposite way. So that was my preference. And I think this one likely is just a 3 position left, center, right. So anyway, Jimmy 2 Horses, thank you, sir, for the $5. Howdy, no tungsten frame rails or depleted uranium braces in the TRX 4000? Amateur. I was really thinking about doing the whole forging, casting my own brass, but like many things, after thinking about it long enough, like, maybe I should. Has a giveaway truck coming. The giveaway truck is done. The first person that I chose for the winner never responded, sent 3 separate emails, the initial one and then 2 follow-ups. So I'm just going to pick another person, which I still didn't do. I need to do that. And then email them. But I want to have like the person who wins on like record a Skype little combo. So I want to have them accept it and then do all that and then do the whole release the video with it. But that is if that person, whoever wins, wants to do that. Some people don't want to be on camera, and I get that. I think it does have 50 and 100%. Ooh, I like it. Let's, I need a battery. Only problem is I probably don't have a battery with this plug. So the good news is I've got my little servo tester that I have an adapter that always sits in it, and I can use that to plug in a 3S pack. What do I have handy? Those are too big. Those are not right. I need a battery. I don't have a battery on the bench. Okay, let's see here. 4S. Ooh, that's going to be the problem. Do I have anything 3S? There we go. Let's check the status of that before we just plug it in. Dale C, thank you, sir. Wife wants to know what you're drinking. She already likes you only slightly more because you're drinking red wine. It's a Cabernet. I'm not going to tell you the form that this is delivered to me in because it did come in a box. Jay Burris, if that is a real statement, I'm mad that you told me ahead of time. I hope you're messing with me so bad. I'm going to be so mad otherwise. You're just... All right, checking the battery. 3.6 volts per cell. It is dead. It's 7%. Let me see if I have anything else. Box one. I'm not too proud to tell you that it came in a box. Also pretty much dead. Let's call it storage voltage, not dead. Because I definitely put these all on storage mode. This one's got 25%. Let's go with that one. It's the adult juice box. Adult juice box, perfect. Okay, so let's plug our little adapter in. So this is an all-in-one. Does it? Where is our? There it is. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, it does. Perfect. This is exactly how I would want to have this truck. I'm super happy to see that. This battery is too big to fit, so we'll cross that bridge later. But so as you can see, it's 50%, 100% each direction. It doesn't seem to have as much steering in that single direction. Stock servos and all, of course, but I that's perfect. I'm super happy to see that. That is how I set up any four-wheel steer truck that I've personally owned, no matter the radio. So score. Now, this project I'm pretty sure was from, I think Randall was the project manager on this, or what did Rich say that I called them? Product developer. I call them project managers. That's not the right term. Oh, someone asked what lipo checker this is. It's the XBC 100 from Spectrum. I do like it. I'll show you. So when you plug it into the balance port, try and block my face so it gives you a little readout. Tells you the percentage. Whoops. It's a touch screen. Is it? So I don't know. Maybe it's not. Oh, I think I just hit the button. 25%. And then on the other side, it tells you volts per cell. So it's super handy. And it's also a servo checker. So you can plug, if you have power to it, like on that side, then you plug your lipo in over there. You can plug a servo in. Like, do I have a servo handy? What do I got? Anything? No, I do. We can go through that. This is unnecessary and completely off the topic of whatever we were discussing, which I've already forgot. But plug servo in, go in, and then you can go to servo test. Down on the screen, hit select, and then from here you can control you can do it in little steps. You can hit the button and it'll just go cycle through. It's good for centering servos when you're installing them. So there's that. Where's the 2000 servo? The Beast 2000? It's right there. I need to install that in my SCX6, but mine was not totally complete, so I didn't get the little adapter, which I still need to get from Horizon. So I'm going to get that. Another unboxing, the servo. Oh, anyway. So that controls the servo output voltage. Doesn't control the output voltage. It controls the PWM, the pulse width modulation, to send the signal to tell the servo where to be. When will the Capra ship? That is a great question. I do not have that information. Mine even shipped late. I was supposed to have it, for the release, but didn't quite happen in time, which was fine because I also had that bro dozer that I got done. So, Perry G, I'm going to pop a 2015 and drink with my pinky out while I look down on all of you. Turn the remote off. See? Randall. I was looking out. There was a comment on the TRX 4000 video today that said I needed to weight the radio that I use for it, just so that it's like equally, that was such a good comment. Whoever had posted that, I need to go look back. Like that was it really does. You need to pick up the radio for that truck and just be like, God, I'm just going to open it up and pack the inside with with lead. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited again for a Capra, which has not happened since the initial release. I was less excited. How do you like the tires? I think that they look good. They're very wide. I mean, overall, I like the Nitto look. I've never really ran them in like a competitive way to know how the performance stacks up on stuff, but I think that they look good at least. And they're on a beadlock wheel, so that's a bonus. Tungsten putty in the transit. That's not a bad idea. So, Josh ignores any of my comments I make on his videos, and I'm okay with that. Mike J, I see every one of the comments. I see what you said, and you're right. I don't respond to a ton of comments, but let's see. Capra has dig, just locked out, no servo. Oh yes, West Desert Wheeler. It does have dig. So now the Capra in general, they all have that dig, of course. But the dig in the Capra is awful. So take that, with a grain of salt. Oh, that was what I was talking about before. It was the that this was Randall's project. Randall coming from the full size world, I think that helps a lot with setting this truck up with a situation like this with that mixed steering so that it's controlled independently and not just like set up to either crab walk together or, go the same way. I think that a lot of people who maybe have never tried rear steer in the full size world or even with RC cars would think that would be the better setup, but that's this is the most powerful way, having it set up individually, and you don't need so many steps that it's a pain to find center again. This is a great setup. I think that it's perfectly simple enough and perfectly powerful enough with the included radio that they did a great job. So congratulations to them. Couldn't be happier with that little bit of setup with that project. Just makes everything nice. Josh, is it hard on the servos to turn them manually? I mean, they're little generators, so it's more backfeeding. Weak servos or weak gears. I mean, I've literally broken a servo by turning it manually, where it just the torque of the motor was too much to let the gears go by hand and broke it. But a decent metal gear servo or servo like that, it's fine. I mean, I think technically you could, damage a board if you were going wild, but I've moved servos on every car so many times and never had an issue. So maybe technically, but I've never had a problem other than when I broke the mini servo by going back. It was on a Traxxas. I remember I broke it just sitting on the bench. I was like, well, that was dumb. Do you need dig since you can already turn so tight? That's a great question. In like Sorca competition, it's always been in class 3 where this is allowed. You either had to choose dig or 4-wheel steer. You couldn't run both in competition. Now, I think both are powerful in their own ways. So I think that there is that, it doesn't necessarily completely replace a dig because a dig has more uses than just turning tight. So for that reason, do you still need a dig? Sure, you could use it in extra locations and it would still be very powerful. But if you can only have one or the other, in the competition world, 4-wheel steer has been the way to go to be most competitive. Now, I use dig in trail rigs because I don't usually do 4-wheel steer trail rigs, but there's always, exceptions to every rule, if that applies at all to what we're saying. Let's see. I would love to see a better controller with a potentiometer in an ergonomic spot for rear steer. Fly sky is close, but something you can reach with one hand would be ideal. Oh, you're saying, I know what you mean. And, I think if you wanted that, you could use the Sanwa MT4 because they have a lever that would would be exactly that. It's in an ergonomic spot. And if if you wanted that, like that, completely linear, or not, I guess it wouldn't be linear, or linear, whatever. If you wanted it so that you could just actuate the rear steer with a lever like that, that MT4 would do it. If that was what you're after. Personally, we had seen people use those in the past, and the only thing was that it became a little bit distracting. That's why I like the multi-position setup, because you can just kind of set it, and it kind of goes, and you focus on driving, and then you just set it again, and it resets. It's, especially in competition, it's just nice to be able, you have so many things racing, the time is going, you're trying to figure out if you have enough points to take a gate or clear a gate, or what your approach is going to be, what worked for the last guy, and it's just all going. Sometimes just making it a little simpler can be nice. This one have any cage mod duns for servo clearance or the same cage as the original? I would imagine that this is the exact same cage as the original. I highly doubt there's any differences. I think that they just shot it in a different color. They just put a colored plastic in the mold, and that's what they shot. Beyond that, as far as I'm aware, this is the exact same as before. I don't know. My previous Capra cage is in the garage, maybe, so I don't know. And I honestly didn't spend enough time with my previous Capra to notice anything very specifically. Other than this guy's head is on damn near backwards. Change that out. When is VP coming out with a cage rig like the Capra or Gatekeeper? That's a whole nother project. I don't know. The cage is different. Rear portion has been squished down. Gotcha. Oh, so that mean back here they had to redo that part for the 4-wheel steer? That's cool. I wish I had mine in here to compare. I hadn't looked at it. That will be that's an interesting deal that they redid. If they redid that part of it, especially because that is a completely different side panel to do it. That's an expensive change. These side panels are the major mold of that cage, and that basically makes it a completely different cage, which is not cheap. That's very interesting. I'm gonna have to find my other one so I can. The wiring is a mess as well. Yeah, exactly where you're pointing. Okay, that's man. It's an expensive detail to change. Definitely surprising to me. How many people doing 4-wheel steer on an original had clearance issues? That's why many of the people I see. I understand putting a big old servo on top there that wasn't initially planned for it. Like I said, I didn't spend enough time with my original Capra. I just didn't love it. So I found myself moving on too quickly. So, what's the model number for your Nippex ring pliers? I think they're the J0s. These are the 4811J0. So 4811J0. I think the A0s work as well. I think the 0 is the number that you're mostly worried about. So that's the one that you need for like the really small snap rings. Super, super handy to have. What is the strongest low pro servo? The strongest. I saw Holmes just released a new one this week, and I believe that it had some pretty stacked figures on it. I think it's a direct power, the whole deal, and I don't know that that's been something that's been all that common in low profile servos up to this point. If you have read the box, you would have known this about the cage. I know, I should have read the box. I really like that as a Spectrum 2-in-1 receiver and ESC. I mean, I've never used it. It is only 40 amps, which isn't a lot, but it's got a brushed motor in it, which doesn't take a lot either. So, indie checking in, buying an SCX6 tomorrow. Nice. I tell you, I'd like to talk to somebody who bought the SCX6 and then said that they didn't like it. That after driving it, because that is something that I would like to hear their opinion on. Just because I feel that after driving that SCX6, that it's a totally different type of driving experience and an absolute blast. Tekin T180 Low Pro, pretty beefy. The T180 is not very, I think it's not very strong. It's only like 180 ounce inches, I think, based on the name. It's right around there. If you want one of the, like a strong servo, I think that new Holmes is like over 400, if I remember correctly. And so, love the red cage. Yeah, I had said as well. I'm a fan. I like what they did there. So I have no issues with that decision. And they still did the black one. So if you want a different one, there's always that. China's only one with metal housing so far. I don't know what you mean. Only downside to the SCX6 so far is a weak servo and the lack of aftermarket support, but that's what you get for getting day one. Yeah, that I agree. Aftermarket support will of course come over time with that. And the servo, it is weak, I agree, but it's also not something that, like, I obviously have a servo here that I'm going to replace, but out of the box, I understood what they were doing. Like it made enough sense to me. Like, you drive that vehicle so much differently that servo was almost felt like a little bit more reasonable for someone steering it. 500 ounce inches is on 4S for the Holmes. I'm just kind of going off of memory of what I saw quickly from the social media posts. I can't remember. Holmes low profile servo, 528 ounce inches on 3S. So that's wild. That's legit wild. Is it better to buy kit or RTR or build ground up? There's a lot of stances on that, and I think that all of them have the different. I like being able to pull a truck out of the box, even at this time. And I've got all kinds of cars. I still like being able to pull a truck out of the box and then just go drive it. RTRs definitely have their place, and I think that they're good for that. Building kits is always nice to be able to understand the truck that you're building. If you want to throw all the electronics in it and paint it yourself, everything, like, it's a bonus. Takes that extra work though. Ground up, that's one of those ones that I usually reserve, only for a situation where you're so far from anything you can buy out of the box, that makes it worth it. Beyond that, otherwise, buy a kit or an RTR, you're usually going to save money. Building ground up or from scratch of something that's, if you wanted to build a Capra like this, and even if you're going to go fairly custom, it's just like, just buy the RTR or the kit and then upgrade, because you're going to nickel and dime yourself on so much other stuff. If you buy it, you could just take the stock axles off and sell them if you wanted to. But people always forget so much of the sunken costs of things like hardware and all of that. It's just like, just if you're going to try and build a Capra of some sort, just buy a Capra and then figure it out from there. Take it apart. Why do I take it apart? It's the same as the old ones, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to. These things aren't that fun to work on, and if I did that, it'd be so much work. Let's see. And it has a working light bar and headlights, which is nice. Yeah. I mean, that stuff is nice if you're, if that's what you're after. I got some weird hot glue or something like that in the light bar, but it's a nice scale detail on a truck that probably wouldn't normally have that detail. So, what kind of wine? Some sort of boxed Cabernet, like Cabriolet. It's a VW brand. Let's see, what do we have? Have you seen the Red Bull tuk-tuk racing in Sri Lanka? Yes, I have. I think the last video that they did on that was several years old now, but it's still pretty wild. Okay, it's CEN F450 time. That is, the red one I actually took out of the room already, but I mean, maybe I'll grab it in a little bit. Let's see. Looks like a fine ripple. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure that doesn't sound expensive. Costco, I think you're correct. I've been trying to get rid of my bomber because I hate working on it. And working on a bomber is much easier than working on these Capras, I will say. Capra, one of the tighter cage ones to build, and it's just always been a bit of a pain to get in and work on these and where the trays are and all that. Not been the most enjoyable part of the Capra for me. If I do have that Spectrum Firma, I could see that living in here if it clears, just to get rid of some stuff and simplify it down. Blind Guy RC, thank you. Hey man, the 4-wheel steer Capra is cool, but it's just a 4-wheel steer Capra, really. Yes. I like my Capra the way it is. Let's get with the VS410 Origin Black. I have one. I was going to do that tonight, but I had said earlier, Nicole is sick this week, and I wanted to, it's so hard to like build a kit and pay any attention to the stream. So she's like, we're going to put that off. And Moose Jaw needed a little bit more time. So there's that. For Team Spec revolver motor in a Phoenix shirt. Yes, there's that's a fun one, especially with how low it is. It's close to Thunderbird in cost. I don't know what that is either. Is this cheap alcohol that I should like? Is it like Mad Dog? Isn't that a thing? Mogan David. So let's see. Crawler Baller, thank you. $20, much appreciated. So basically you're saying to buy a Vanquish when y'all release an RTR. I mean, if we release an RTR, of course you should buy it. But that is a that's definitely not going to be around the corner. That would be there's all kinds of work. Just getting a radio done. That's something I've definitely never figured out. El Cheapo Wine Company. Boone's Farm for the cheap. Boone's Farm was like high school wine for us. Grandma wine, Mad Dog 22. How do the laser nut and EXO compare size-wise, length and width? It's a good question. I don't have my laser nut here. I have that at work. But if I remember correctly, the laser nut is both significantly longer and a little bit wider. So the laser nut, has those big over, it's like 5.5 inch or 5 3/4 inch tall tires, where the EXO came with some pretty small short course size tires. So they were definitely a different animal between the two. You could have Dan build the RTRs. I don't know if we could pull that off. My Capra's a pain in the ass to work on. Dig, 4-wheel steer, BEC, 2 direct power servos. But I love. Why do you have a BEC and 2 direct power servos? That's what seems like you wouldn't need the BEC then, unless you have an ESC that's too weak to even run a receiver, or too weak to run the dig servo. I guess could be. Let's see. There we go. I'll take your Boone's Farm and raise you sour apple pucker. That's not wine. That's just high school booze, which I'm also aware of. But do you have work with Traxxas other than? Do you have or work with Traxxas other than the 6x6? Yeah, we did like the TRX4 budget build off before that, which was fun. We did. What else did we do? I did the TRX4 Bronco when that was released. The one that I turned in the TRX 4000. And I feel like there's been other things as well, but I don't remember offhand. Yeah, I don't remember specifically. But yeah, the RC world is a pretty small world. So once you start talking with them, as long as you don't burn bridges for some reason, then dig server with BR Mini. The BR Mini. Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking of getting a Gatekeeper. What do you think of them? So I do have a Gate. Do I still have it? Might have sold my Gatekeeper. The Gatekeeper is basically just an Enduro with a hinged cage top on it. And I like the 12.8 inch wheelbase. I like what they did there. The little trailing arm suspension is fine because the trailing arms are so short. It basically functions like a regular suspension just because of how short they are. And then let's see what else. the one thing is that the cage is kind of oddly proportioned and it sticks out too far in the front. That part of it I didn't love so much. The style was like close, but not something I was really on board with. What camera do you use for streaming? That is a Sony a6400 running through a EVGA XR1 capture card basically, and then into my streaming PC. So that is my stream. And then I've got a a6000 above me here, above my head, that really I don't use that much. You know, I use it every once in a while, but I guess I could. I've got like a whole truss set up above my head with the lights all mounted to it and everything. Makes me look all kinds of official when people come over. Superior RC, what's going on, William? What's once we get this crawler course built in the shop, how much do we need to donate to get a guest appearance from Josh? I'm just figure it out. A nice steak dinner, and I'll make my trip up to Oregon. That's it's been awesome watching you guys. For those who don't know, Superior RC, William has been a friend of mine for a long time. I don't know how long we've known each other, but Bend, Oregon area, is that right, William? You'll have to correct me. Big ass building that they put a huge indoor track in. It's been fun to watch. You can find them on Instagram. I like my A6000 and A6400 technically. Isn't that what I said? Old lady on A6400 before we went to you. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I like my Sonys. I run a Canon as well. This is my SL2 Canon. Sometimes I use this for streaming setup. Like I've got my AC adapter in it right now because I was. But it just all depends. I have camera gear, just, you know, you go through it. And then I use like a regular webcam, Logitech webcam for like when Matt and I do our Wednesday show, because you can't use the same source for two programs. Huge pain in the ass. Alex says, I'm still waiting for J Concepts to come out with a Josh body. Oh, me too. And I think it would just be like the scrap Lexan they have that's just like wadded up and put in a bag. Maybe they'd hit it with a blowtorch beforehand just to... Bah, there you go. Let's see. What else we got here? I was still waiting for Jake. Yeah, I read that one. Yeah, we will take you up on the side by inside. Oh, perfect. Eugene, Oregon is where Superior RC is. Yes, and they have a side by side shop, Superior Motorsports. Also very cool. I'm in it for the side by side stuff alone. Josh would have weird lines and a 10-inch wheelbase. Oh, I mean, it's a missed opportunity if nothing else. I mean, they definitely should. So, yeah, that's, I mean, that probably will wrap up most of the Capra talk that we need to have. Let's see. Is there anything else we should bring down? Do we need to bring anything? What else should we grab from the shelf? We can decide that first. They just renamed the Lloyd Josh. Ooh, those are fighting words though. No, they'll class it up and call it the... You spelled my last name wrong, Todd. And if they called it that, no one would know how to say it, which would make it even better. Josh body would be a power wagon, but with the wrong proportions. Yeah, just a really tall roof above the windows is all. Just the lime green VS410. Oh, Robbie, you'd asked me about that on Wednesday, and I forgot to grab that. So yes, let's set the Capra here to the side. Try not to let it fall. This is my Ultra, my VS410 Ultra. This is pretty much stock other than wheels and tires. It's the Duratrax Lime paint. And I had some custom gold Method 101s done before we sold gold. And I don't think we have gold in all the wheels yet, but these look really good, especially with the green, right? Josh, how do you like the CCX Lloyd body I did for C? I thought it was great. He did the video of that this week as well. Hilarity. And you know what? I will give it to him for following through on a joke like that. But it was a great paint job. Crawler Baller, thank you again, $10. And if you go to Eugene, you can stop by Medford and check out Crawler Baller HQ. Well, I assume that that's close by. I don't know, but I'm into it. I've seen your indoor course you've sent me a video of before, so I'm in for that. Oh yeah, I forgot. I put the what was that called? What was this light kit called? Mad NGH light kit. And it's like a capacitive touch. You basically touch through the body and it senses it on this controller and turns the lights on and off. It's got headlights and taillights. I forgot I installed that. But underneath it is, oh, I guess I installed carbon fiber battery trays in it. I didn't remember doing that. I made these carbon fiber trays, battery and electronics trays, and I guess I installed them in this, and I had totally forgot that I had done that. I made these myself. So, Tekin T360 steering servo, no dig, which, yeah, this has just been kind of a runner. Just nothing beyond that. I just take it out there and run it when that's it. Yeah, other than that, it's still pretty much as it was. Other than those simple little changes that I made. This body did look really good though. I'm a fan. I'm glad that let's see, was this the one that we this one was on the cover, right? Of the Ultra Kit box. We had the green one and the red one. Yes. So this was the kit body. Or the sorry, like the box art body. Brandon painted this. Brandon, who I worked with, who was also the designer of most of this stuff, and he did a great job on both of it. So, my wife named our Ultra Glass Slipper. She painted. Amazing. Glass slipper. I like that. Is it just me, or is it sitting as high as the Capra? It's a good. We can put them next to each other. I still have access. Nicole is not in here, so I do not have refill abilities. So, as far as like belly clearance, it is definitely not as high. But the overall height is probably close just because this is a little bit lower profile of a chassis. Belly clearance, probably close to 2.5 inches on the Ultra. And this is like almost 3, just a hair under 3. But, the Ultra, the entire side profile of it, top to bottom, is like 6.25 inches tall from top of the roof to bottom of the skid. And the Capra is maybe 5.25. So, how many hands fit under it? I can almost do a fist with before it lifts the tires off. Not quite. It's about 4 fingers. I have about maybe 3 with the Ultra. Let's see. Competition tomorrow at Folsom or just plain? Is there a competition at Folsom tomorrow, Ken? Was not aware. I guess I'll have to look into that maybe. And Rob Martin, good evening, Josh. Question: I have a second Phoenix now. I have a brand new 10.3 straight axle version kit. Will it work or a waste of time? It should work. Should work. You will need the little link kit setup that I have on the Vanquish website. That will change the panhard, the upper front link, and the drag link. Because those are in different spots on that versus the Phoenix. But other than that, it should drop right in, I think. Let's see. I have a Phoenix chassis here, but let's see. Well, I've got a VS410 over there with Axial straight axles under it. This is a VS410 I have for sale on the website, on my website right now. And it's which, yeah, basically, so the VS410 or the Phoenix, basically the underside is the same. The skid plate is different technically, but beyond that, it's really about the same as far as like proportions or outside dimension stuff. So this it really won't be any different than this one. It should all just drop on pretty much. Like I said, you'll need a couple of different links, but that's it. So that's it should be super simple. I mean, I think I threw one under there in a couple hours before. So show us the Fijan. The Fijan is at Matt's house. He's had it for a long time. He agreed. He, for some reason, offered to paint the Fijan, and I gladly sent it to him, and he was like, crap. But he hasn't touched it, and I don't blame him, and I don't care when I get it back. Let's see. Can I have it? No, you can't have it. D44 axles should fit on the Phoenix as well. Yes, they should fit on. They should fit on really easily. Actually, I know they do. Brandon did that as well. Brandon did that already, and I think the guy Phoenix drives around with, Phoenix RC Crawler on. I think it's Phoenix RC Crawler on Instagram, but he's got a bunch of videos with driving his Phoenix and another one around, and the other one has D44s. So. Did you see the new Panda Hobby 124 scale truck with portal axles, also the magnetic body mount light system? I did not see that. I'll have to take a look. How do you fix the click? It's weird because I've seen some people say they have it, some don't. Some said that they had a screw too far in on their dig cover. Some people said, I've seen it where I saw somebody who had it personally and it needed a shim on the top gear and that fixed it. So I don't know. Proline just released Hyrax tires for the SCX6. Actually, Proline released those like 6 months ago for the low-seat Rock Ray, and then they happen to be the same size as fits on the SCX6. So they released those quite a while ago. I'm painting my Phoenix in an Ivan Stewart livery. I'm thinking gold 105s. I think gold 105s look fantastic, so yes, always yes. And now it's a paperweight. Canada paper is heavier. What? Yes, exactly. He has the motorcycle. I'm just fine with that. Let's see. What's your website? My website's harleydesigns.com. That's it. harleydesigns.com. But yeah, this one is for sale on my website there. There's like a for sale section. Can't really remember. This is a VS410 chassis. Obviously the root beer painted body. Paint job's not bad. It's got like a chrome backer to make it all kinds of metallic-y. Underneath, it's pretty. It does. I did put carbon fiber battery electronic trays in there because it didn't have electronics or battery trays in it when I bought it. So I just like made another set of those real quick so I could drop it in there. And then it's got a Castle Mamba X, a ProTech 370 TBL, Castle 1406 motor. It's got associated shocks, and it's got a Traxxas waterproof electronics box, but way up in the front there. I've never seen that. Actually, it looks pretty good. It's got titanium links on it. I think those are Samix links, so. And incision drive shafts, Axial straight axles, and it has Proline aluminum wheels. the impulse wheels with trenchers and dual stage foams. It guy locally had this for sale, and he had it for sale way too cheap. So I bought it because it was too cheap, and I knew I could sell it and make money on it. I'll just tell you I do it. I even had a video. I mean, I should have done it for like flip that truck, but you know, that's not. It really wasn't enough to do that on there. Where can I get the radiator from the Phoenix? It is the same radiator that comes on the Origin as well. Um, well, it should. This one doesn't have one. I guess I should put a radiator in this. Oh, I bet it hit the receiver box. I bet that's why he took it out. Anyway, there's a detail parts tree that we sell separately on the Vanquish website, which has the light buckets, radiator, grill, interior bits. So there you go. D Snuts says needs to my to my plugs. Now I know that that's DK just by the photo on his little avatar, so he's not getting by anything. Rob Montana, thank you, sir. I we had your G Speed up on the bench at the start of this. Can I use the Harley 10 coupon code? You can, but if you use the Harley 10 coupon code on my own website, it actually charges you 10% more. It's weird. It's an opposite coupon code. It's a donation code. Oh, shit. It's still fine if you're buying it. Let's see. I'm shocked that Holmes suggested a tiny revolver for the TRX 4000. I had some questions on it as well. I mean, it looks kind of tiny in there. It's not tiny. It's a full-size revolver or whatever. But he's like, on 6S, that motor is going to have a ton of power and it's going to scream. And it's like, whatever you think. Whatever you think. Let's see. I thought it was interesting. The radiator has always had the provisions to mount to fender wells all the way back to the Origin. Yeah, when we originally did that, it was that stuff was added for the use of being able to use it in other things. Like for those that have been in this stuff for a long time, like the Axial EXO radiator was always something that we used in all kinds of other builds. So it's just like, let's just make this thing so it's got some customization ability. So let's throw some of those extra mounts in there. And yeah, threw that in there. And then it turned out that, those things come into use for other projects down the road. But that was we didn't have that design done ahead of a time for like the Phoenix, which was right here. But now on the Phoenix, the radiator is a brace for the inner fenders. It's got 2 screws that go in from the side, and that holds that radiator. And now these things are just rock solid. So there's a cool use for it. And chassis mounted is fun. You'll notice that this thing has got all like stainless hardware because this was my one of my original prototype chassis. So it's got all kinds of stuff that's not so non-standard. Whoa, why is my feed scrolling for me? That was weird. And still doing it. Alrighty then. Let's see. Sorry I missed some of them. Any scale dolls? Ryan, no dolls. Did run across some that I used for Scale Nationals a while back, and they were like the what were the skater ones called? Do you remember those? But they had basically like deteriorated and almost were like falling apart already. What electronics are in the Capra? The Capra comes with the standard Spectrum S614 servos front and rear. And then it's got the all-in-one system, the Firma 40, which is all-in-one, meaning it is the ESC and receiver combo. And then it's got a brushed motor in it. Just a standard 35 turn? Yeah, I see a 5, so I'm guessing it's a 35 turn. So, And let's see, speaking of bodies, Proline is coming out with a Chevy body to fit the Gladiator. Yeah, I saw that long wheelbase Chevy. And I immediately saw, as soon as I saw that released, which I had heard about at Proline by the Fire, I think I saw it there. The but I was just like, I went to the comments and I just knew it was all like, should have been a Chevy or should have been a Ford. Would have been better if it was a Dodge. Would the comments were just like, my Dodge has been perfect. Like, Dodges suck. I was just like, this is why, this is why I don't envy companies that have to make bodies all the time. Who makes a good all aluminum Capra cage? The only one that I know of is Super Shafty with the Chupa Capra. I think it's like around $800, but it's just spacers between the two sides. It doesn't have any like triangulation, so I wasn't super stoked on that. Not something I would probably suggest. Beyond that, if you're gonna go with a cage, go with a steel cage, a welded one, something a little bit better than just going to an aluminum replacement one. So, Josh, serious question: M&Ms and popcorn, yes or no? Absolutely yes. I mean, it's not something I do often, but that sounds delicious. M&Ms and anything. I mean, just M&Ms. I'm good. Like, let's hand them over. I love the fact that chassis and body are so rigid on the Phoenix. It is cool. It is, and it is definitely rigid. Everything sits. The inner fenders help keep everything there. The side guards, the rear bed, how it ties in with the rear points in three different spots. It makes everything pretty nice. Pretty nice. I know my body posts are all like moved back like that, but I was just trying to keep the cage in place and while I was using body posts still. This was the one that I had the Moose Jaw had painted me that body that looked like Lauren Healy's Bronco. And so that was that one. Still the same transmission in the Capra? Yep. Same. Wild Wendy is my favorite. Willie's hot sister. What? What? What are you talking about, Ryan? All right. That stuff to the side. Got a Phoenix and went to put rock lights in the fenders. Who sells those? Vanquish, and which lights fit the buckets? So yeah, the rock lights that are molded into the fenders, those will be available later. It's like something that bolts in easily, properly. As far as the front, you can use a 10 millimeter LED in the front if you would like. I know PowerShift RC has a super simple kit, 5 millimeter LEDs in the rear. Also, we have the Incision Series 1 kit, this one here. And in that, it has a light controller, so you can turn it on and off from the radio, and it has replacement light buckets that actually have like a nice, I mean, these are pretty properly bright LED with the housing and a heat sink. Excuse me. Heat sink on the back. My sorry. I need to upgrade transmitters. What do you use and what all features does it have? So I've got Vitavon 4PM, which is kind of like my go-to trail radio. That's because it has programmable switches for all four channels. You can, or, I guess not for all four. Steering and throttle are pretty much set. But the other two channels are pretty open to a lot of programming or mixing, things like that, depending on what you're doing. I like to have multi-position switches for dig or whatnot. Kind of goes all around there. And then I also have the 7PX, which is 7 channels, a lot more programmability, a lot more channels, yada, yada, yada. Now I'm really tired. Incision drive shaft for SCX10 2 RTR and SCX10 listed on the Vanquish website. Is that one will fit the Phoenix? Yes, that one will drop right in the Phoenix. So if you've got that, you can drop it right in, no problem. I beat you all. I have pumpkin spice ramen noodles. Matt Hicks made castings for them silly and those are the ones you're talking about. Yes, Matt Hicks's the little heads that he made for those were such cool detailed things. Power Shift RC has colored rock lights. Oh, yep. These will be a little bit type of a different deal. That was a weird noise. Is that my Skype? No, I don't know what that was. Weird. Anyway, What is the best light kit for the SCX24 C10? Ooh, I do not know that. Not something that I have ran across. Whiskey or Scotch? I'm an uninformed connoisseur of either. I've definitely had more Scotch than whiskey. I ran the Incision light set on my Pro at Proline by the Fire, and they were bright AF. They are, I mean, they're super bright. They're not as bright as the Q series, but they are absolutely bright. And so, suggestions how to build one rig that has overdrive, straight axles, 2-speed, locking, unlocking diffs, dig, servo on axle, 4-wheel steer, 2.2 tires, anything else for trail crawl. I mean, you're looking for 2.2s and straight axles. Unlocking, locking diffs is the big problem there. Really, there's no point to have locking and unlocking diffs, especially if you're looking at dig and 4-wheel steer. Like, unlocking and locking differentials are pointless. And even for the most part, they're not something that I look for as a feature. We're off-road. We have plenty of turning radius nowadays. Like, having unlocking and locking differentials is just not something that I think is necessary for what we're doing. So I would start really thinking about, if you understand fully what each of those things is doing, and if there's any reason to add so much complexity to one truck for it to be what you're really after. So I think that's you know, Skype is for work, Discord is for fun. I've never tried Discord. I should probably do that. I have no idea what it is though. I feel like one of them kids. I swear to God, I downloaded Snapchat a long time ago. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what is this? I'm like, I do not understand this at all. I felt absolutely ridiculous. I was just like, like I really reached that point. I'm pretty good with technology. And I was just like, don't get it. Can't understand it. Don't see how this works. This seems pointless. I'm out. Now TikTok, big fan. So Crawler Baller, thanks again, man. Appreciate it. I sent an inquiry regarding that RTR you have on HarleyDesigns.com. Chris, I know exactly what that was. That was my email chime going off because I have my email tab open on my on my browser window. That's exactly what it was. Thank you, sir. Now, do you like 2-speed crawlers? Also not been something that I've ever really thought was needed at this point. With the quality of brushless systems that we have and the fact that they can do that slow crawl, or they can go as fast as these solid axle vehicles can handle, you don't need the complexity of a 2-speed. And I think that is, I stand behind that. That's been my position for a very, very long time. I see why people like it because it's button clicking and it's kind of fun. The SCX6 with its big ass truck and switching between them, I get it there. That thing is so big, and I don't think that you could run, even though that brushless system in that is very capable, I don't think it has the torque to really. West Desert Wheeler just said the same thing. Only 2-speed crawler I like is the SCX6. I agree. I just don't think that with how big that truck is, that the low speed control would be good enough on that. Maybe you could get a brushless system that would, but I don't know that you can. In a 1/10 scale, or call it 1/8 scale, like Wraith and Bomber, things like that, I don't see it. I don't care for it. I don't think it's needed. It's a personal preference thing, and I get why some people like them, but SCX6, I do enjoy it, well, I will say. Anyone else stuck at 144p? You shouldn't. I haven't dropped any frames, and we're broadcasting at 6250 kilobytes a second currently. But that is odd if that's happening. But I haven't dropped any frames, so it should still be. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Some people are in 1080. There you go, at least. Let's see. I saw a video from 3 Bros RC making an STX6 do wheelies with a new motor. Now, I could see that being possible. The truck already has got some snot to it. So I don't know. I wonder if if it, I have concerns about that much weight and where forces are going to go. It's just like a full size Jeep Rubicon is strong, sure, enough. You start trying to make it do wheelies though, you may have problems. So, like, maybe you choose where you want to go that wild with. I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, these trucks, 110 scale, the mass is so vastly different. And we can make chromoly axle shafts for these things and absolutely put a ton of power through it, and it's going to be just fine. But as that size goes up, the mass and the amount of forces that goes into stuff, it is a different ball game. So someone has to find the limits for the rest of us. I get that, and I've been that person a lot of times, and there's something about driving that SCX6 that just, I don't know, it's so different to drive. I have a really good time, but I'm not saying that I won't find myself doing things to it that are unreasonable. Jeep needs 60s, and then Ben right behind him. Amen. Is the Vitavon kit for the SCX6 worth it? Vitavon has not been a company at this point that I've ever supported, so I don't know. Not something I won't be buying that kit myself, obviously, but a lot of people run their parts. Some people will like them. It's up, it's what some people will be after, and you know what? They've got parts out there already, so there you go. There's something to be said for that. Sweet, I made it. Better late than never, right? And I don't know, what time is it? We're 7:15. We still got quite a ways to go. So I'll pay good money for 2.2 Wraith Vanquish Curry axles clean. Do you know anyone that has any for sale? I do not currently. Josh says, all your problems were fixed on the Capra. Would you have a 1/6 Capra? Absolutely. Absolutely. Something that when the Capra was initially released, the thing that I really enjoyed about it, like some of the other buggies that I have, is that it's kind of a comp-ish style. It's got a little bit wider axle, and the portals, I think there's pros and cons to them. At this width on 1.9s, I can see it. So, I see things yes and no, of course, with the decisions that were made on the initial release. My problems were the gearing specifically, I think was absolutely missed the ball on this thing. And then, ride height was a little bit too tall. If they had this thing down and it had clearances, and, if it ran with the links basically level at ride height, or maybe even just a little bit negative, and it had clearances to do everything properly, I think this would be, a truck that I would have enjoyed much more. And then if you scale that up, like, even more fun. So, so you're saying an SCX 6000 is in the future? I am not saying that. I don't think that I don't see myself diving into another one of those projects anytime soon. That the I don't know the actual amount of money that I've spent on this truck yet, um, and I don't think I want to add it up. But it's I have no plans to reproduce this on any other platform at any time. That's how about any word on Rift axles? Those should be like next week. I think that those will be available like next week. But this thing, like everything about this truck is an absolutely it's a it's a pain to move. I just it's just ridiculous. There you go. Holy shit, that's a big ass battery. Yes, it is. That is a 30,000 milliamp 6S battery. Is that as heavy as the SCX6 yet? Yes, it is. It is basically the same weight as the SCX6. So there you go. 30,000 milliamp 6S. Oh, I will show you the. If you didn't see the video yet, I did the carbon fiber battery tray. I haven't done the brass yet. My plan is to take the brass and basically add it to the tray, and then I'll do another one of these carbon fiber trays, and then it will sandwich it all. So, you know, will there be a running video of this thing? Yes, there will be. There will be a running video, and then there will be a tug of war between it and the SCX6. So, are the springs completely bottomed out? Absolutely, they are. What's the charge time on that bad boy? Or you just buy it and run it till dead? Yeah, that's really my plan. Is I hope that I don't ever have to charge it, because I'm afraid to charge it. Carbon fiber battery tray, lol. Yeah, it's not because I was trying to keep it light. It was just because carbon fiber is like one of the easier materials for me to machine here at home. Can I put that battery in my TRX4? This is a TRX4. You could. But yes, you can tell it bottoms out immediately. How many screws are in that? There's only 5 screws in the battery tray. So there should have been 6, but one of my holes didn't quite line up. Don't don't notice. SCX6 will win. I don't know. I'm really wondering. Because this thing will probably be a little bit heavier than the SCX6. So I don't know. I wonder if the tire width on the other ones will overcome this thing. So, but I mean, it's so ridiculous. I think it's like right now, even I think it's about the exact same as the SCX6, but I've still got a few things that I need to do. So I think that it'll be a few pounds at least, maybe more, heavier than the SCX6. But it does not have as much motor as the SCX6, so there's that. Bill Dares, thank you, sir. Does the Vanquish 7mm to 8mm nut adapter work for putting Vanquish aluminum wheels onto Phoenix build using the 8mm lock nuts? Yes, it does. It's also included in the kit. So depending on what you have already, you should have one with it. But yes, it will work with that. So it is the same outside diameter. So time to do a 50-pound TRX6. I do not want to buy these parts again. That's what I was saying. The amount of money into... So every part of the axles are replaced as far as like the outsides. Will the diffs be locked? They will be locked. Right now, they're still a selectable diff. But, you know, it's got the metal axle housings and then brass everywhere. And I did the additional brass add-on parts that go everywhere. I machined some stuff to try and make sure that everything would work so I could add as much brass as possible. The wheels have brass hubs and then stainless brake weights and brass outer rings. It's just silly. Did you do brass links? I didn't do brass links. I might do stainless links. I think brass links look ridiculous. That's a stupid saying, being what's going on here already. But I really just hate the idea of brass links. So I might put stainless on. I get the hypocrisy. But brass diff cups, it does have brass diff cups as well. Yes. So let's see. What about the SCX6 different? The SCX6 will be... what about the SCX6 diffs? They're locked only, right? Yeah. Brass outer rings? Yes, brass outer rings. That thing has got more brass than Statue of Liberty. Yeah. So I do have a 5th scale servo for this one as well, but I have to do some modification to make the mount to make it fit, because it does not fit between the rails. Josh, have you weighed it yet? Yes, I have. It's a little over... Was it a little over 23 or a little over 24? I can't remember. So it's getting close to 25. Oh, brass links is where you draw the line? Seriously? I know. I realized it after I said it. After. So this is what the Reef's $500 servo was for. No, the Reef's 2000 servo is for the SCX6. Let's see. I got another 2000 ounce servo for this one. Very similar, but different. When it's going up for sale on the site. So here's the stock servo, 1/10 scale servo, 5th scale servo. Like, but like I said, it does not fit. So I need to do some modification to these inner wells to get this thing to sit down so that I can get everything to fit. It's ridiculous. I hate moving it. I just hate like having to like bend down and get it. What motor and ESC is in it? Currently, there is a revolver. It's a 1000 kV revolver on 6S. So as far as the ESC, I haven't decided yet. I've got Mamba X's here, but I also have a Mamba XLX2, which is like the huge one. But that's for my Limitless, and I'm just like, maybe that's not needed. So, yeah, I mean, there's no point in this thing. It is absolutely pointless. But oh yeah, this servo is like a pound, so that's gonna help even more. Some Traxxas. Shocks are a question that everyone asks. I don't know what to do there. I don't know that there's any shocks that will fit this that that would support the weight. So I don't know. Josh's servo requirements are getting out of hand. Yeah. So it's just when you drop it, it just goes it's just right down. There is no dual shocks. I mean, that would be a little difficult to get mounted to the axles properly. And again, I'm trying to keep this thing looking airbags. It'd need like 60 PSI or more, I think. $10 challenge. Find out the runtime on a full charge. I think that I don't even know. I can't. I don't know what it would be because it's so ridiculously heavy, but it's such a ridiculous battery at the same time. I don't know. I feel like I should just put this battery into a stock TRX4 and see if I can break that Guinness 24-hour or Guinness. There's a single battery world record. Currently, it's over in Germany, and they went from like the Mercedes factory to another place. And it was like, trust, I've looked into this already. I'm just like, because I'm like, I could fit this battery in something. Like, that's for sure. Would that active suspension setup that Matt used even be capable? No, so I had that same one. I do not think that it would be capable of. I mean, I'd need like 4 more of these. I was thinking about just getting 3 more of these to work for like this still has the diff lock servos and the 2-speed in it. I was just like, maybe I should just get a bunch of them. I'll just get a bunch of 5th scale servos. And then I thought to myself, that would be ridiculous and expensive. And I drew the line. CEN F450, lift it or slam it. Lowrider would be cool, or take that lift lowered kit out of the Camaro thing and you started lowered dualies for the win. I had a hard time deciding that as well, because I do have a second CEN now for some reason that I should figure out something to do with at some point. But I don't know. I can't decide. There is the guy on Instagram, and he sent me an email, which I have my email open actually, and Crawlers N, the letter N, Customs, I believe is what his his Instagram name is as well. Crawlers N Customs, and he's been doing a bunch of those like lift kit. He's got servo actuated lift kits that use that super scale system. He's got static lift kits, all kinds of stuff. So he had sent me an email yesterday or so, and he's got a lift kit that I could just bolt onto it and be like good to go. And I'm just like, maybe I'll do that just to make it easy. It'd make like a good Friday night video, and it would do something with that truck, and then we can go from there. So, yes, Squints Balladorus, one of my favorite usernames. I was about to say you need more Fiscale servos. 4 more, you say? 7,600 milliamp and a stock TRX4 can run up to 4 hours crawling. Yes. Capo air suspension. I know for a fact that would not lift this thing. Active suspension setup using 4 Reefs 2000. Josh, challenge accepted. How long does this 30,000 milliamp last? I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. So, yeah. SEMA lift and Bluetooth drive shafts. That's been my thought as well. I'm just like, I need to remove that front drive shaft and just get it way up. Let's see. No need to draw any lines. It's already beyond ridiculous. Now I'm wondering if I could use 2.5 pound Olympic weights for some wheel weights on the SCX6. Jeez. Josh, it's a dually RC. It's already useless. Make it more useless. It's just like the squad at F450. How many lowered TF2s? Leaf springs? I know. I can't decide. There's so many things to decide. The amount of work that it's going to take to get this servo into this truck is substantial. Fiscale servos are so much bigger than they seem when you order them on the internet. So, yeah. I've been considering buying a 10,000 milliamp 2S. So that would, just think, a 10,000 milliamp 2S would be like, 6 of those would be like one of these. So, there you go. 3/8 inch airbag on 60 psi on each corner will be good. For 26.4, hey, I was pretty close. 3 Bros RC filled SCX6 tires with water and they weighed 8 pounds. Some water in the TX4 tires would add weight. The problem is like right now I've got the Crawler Innovations heavyweight single stage foams in here, and that is the only reason that this thing is not riding on the actual rim. Otherwise, if I put water in here, these tires would just be like a water balloon that you squeeze the bottom of. They'd just all be at the top. I took the world record up. Is he still talking batteries? A little bit, but yes, I did. How every hybrid looks to me, a bunch of waste. Why not use the servo you take out of the SCX6? Well, because I'd actually got this servo before, and this one is heavier. So, more weight. And this is a direct power. So that's how it gets a lot of its... Yeah, I don't know. What foams are in it? Yeah, these are Crawler Innovations single stage closed cell. So the heavyweights specifically. I'm sure we all feel sorry for Josh. Looks around his room at all 30-ish rigs. Oh, woe is me. The record car was 53,000 milliamps. So I don't know if you can beat it. That's a good question. But it was a long time ago. Maybe yeah, and it was like an on-road car. But I think it was 53,000 milliamps of like alkaline batteries. Which I think, I'm just saying. How much was that battery? This battery is $517. Yeah. I did get a slight discount, but not enough to not make it a terrible decision. So, you win some, you lose some. Just get another of the battery and wire them in parallel. I'm not buying another one of these batteries. This one, talked to Genzace and I was just like, hey, here's what I want. I want the biggest battery that I can possibly fit into the body of a TRX4. This TRX4 specifically. They're like, okay. And I was just like, this is the thing. Just so this is what I'm looking for. And they sent me a photo of this battery in like the body of one of these. And I was just like, well, technically that's what I asked for. I just didn't know. And then they're like, here's the thing. This battery is $517. And I was like, God damn it. I was like, it is exactly what I asked for. So they're just like, okay, well, here's the deal. And they made me a deal that I was just like, it was a good price, but and then, even just the, wasn't that an accidental purchase? No, I just made that funny video for the internet just because, but it wasn't an actual accidental purchase. Trust me, I would have noticed. $517 now, but remember, a cheap 5,000 milliamp 20C 15 years ago was $80. So maybe in 15 years it'll be a quarter of the cost. Maybe we're not using Nick lipos anymore at that point. Let's see, where was that? Sorry. I saw that question a little bit ago. Thoughts on Droop suspension? I'm not a huge fan of Droop. Obviously, this truck is running Droop, but as a function of the purpose of the build, not as a function of preference. I don't like Droop just because it can be a little bit. It can unload in a way that I don't prefer, especially on like side hill type situations. And also, it doesn't give you any up travel. So if you use any momentum, it can have a huge tendency to buck the wheel, buck the truck around in an unpredictable way. So not something I like. And we used to do it on comp rigs back in the day. And then over time, we all just were like, sprung works better. So that's why if you look at comp rigs, like they're all going to be sprung if they're competitive. So they look cool. That's not Droop. That's obnoxious. Agreed. What wheels are on that rig? These are Vanquish Method 105s with some IBTR beadlock rings on them. And yeah. I run full Droop, 60 weight, oil, no springs. Yeah, it's just not a setup that I like. I do not like the performance of it. Tried to get a 3,000 milliamp, added an extra 0 in there. Oh my God. It just, I don't think that the real weight of this comes across, but it's just, my concern is that it still has the plastic panhard mount that's molded into the inner fenders, and this takes a big hit. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to drive this thing like I would drive one of my other trucks. It will not. And if I rolled this thing over, I think that it would absolutely destroy the body. I'm just wondering. It will support the It will support the truck on its own, but it's bare. I'm just waiting for it all to just go. Just joined. What rig is this? This is the TRX 4000. So I did put out a video on it this morning if you'd like to see the details. This is a 20 plus pound TRX 4 only for the point of being ridiculous, not for any actual good reason, just specifically to be a bad idea. So, oh my God. I don't want to just set this down right next to me because I'll trip on it. We're just going to set it right there. It's just going to live there for the rest of the stream until I can properly put it away. What winch are you putting in the TRX 4000? A worn 9000, just an actual worn 9000. That is the plan. I can't wait for someone to pick it up again in the event. Oh yes, I have so many plans for this to go to events. You need more veins. Yeah, does like make those veins just come out like regularly? That's just my weird forearm veins. What about double or quad shocks? I think the biggest problem would just be actual mounting and still finding a spring that is heavy enough. Like right now, you got to remember this truck weighed RTR previously 7 pounds, or 7 pounds before battery. So even saying a battery was a pound, 8 pounds, say half, a third of the weight would have been in the axles. So say 5 pounds on the chassis, which is probably generous. Now it's triple that on the chassis at least. So you'd need at least 3 shocks per corner with a, maybe a heavy, yeah. Last video of TRX 30K Moab Cliff jump. There's nothing to catch fire at the bottom, right? Like, how many of us just checked our forearm veins? I think all of us have, like, we all have like weird, that, I don't know. I think it looks more on video than it does in real life. What would be the charge time on a regular 10 amp AC charger? God, that's, I mean, 10 amp, let's see. So if it could do 10 amps at 6S, what is that in watts? Volts times amps equals watts, right? Usually these are watt limited, not, I know they say amps, but I think that they're actually watt limited. Either way, it's going to be like hours, like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours. Josh, big bores with heavy mini T-springs inside, heavy red Traxxas spring. And, I don't think you would want to use a, I don't think the mini T-springs would do anything. And if they did, I think that they would actually possibly cause the, if you're trying to support the weight of this truck by the plastic piston on the inside, I think you would absolutely just bust that piston off. Just like shove it right down the shaft. So, okay, I'm out. Have a good, great. Thanks for joining, Big Red Bitch. Amp limited by the C rating. There's always that, yes. Volts times amps equals, yes. Power. So, you need springs from a hardware store, not a hobby shop. Yeah, or like a diesel shop. I need like diesel pump springs or freaking, I don't know, valve. I need valve springs off a Honda. It's, I don't know. Josh starts an RC workout. Yeah, I need to, definitely need some way to try and come up with how to, I'm not kidding. So, I mean, I get a decent amount of, discount on products. But still, this truck cost me, I don't even know where the idea for this thing came. Like, I don't remember why I thought, I do remember kind of actually. I remember I bought all of the brass initially on an airplane. We were at the gate still, and I was sitting there in the airplane seat, and like, it's like, came up with an idea. I was just like, I started going, I was on the A main, and I just started adding all the parts. And I'm doing all that, and I saw Nicole like looked over and like looked at my phone. She's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, it's for a video. Look for a spring with a high crush rate and the same diameter. Yeah, definitely need a K value that is, well, I mean, if these things have a, what do they have? Say an inch of stroke. Say it's, like I said, 15 pounds. I need a K value of like what, 15 divided by 4, whatever that would be. Say it was 7, 3.5, so 3 something. It's 3 point, maybe a 4K rate. That would even be just maybe 5. That truck would set off a loop at a traffic light. I like that you know that they're called a loop, Noah. Are you in the municipality? For those that don't know what he's talking about an inductive loop, which is if you pull up to a stoplight, or a traffic signal, don't call them a stoplight, it's inappropriate. You'll sometimes see the saw cut lines, which they'll be long, usually like 30, 18 to 30 feet, depending. And they'll be like squares, but with cut corners. And there's a few wraps of wire around it. And when you pull your car over it, that's how the signal detects that you're there. That's why a motorcycle often doesn't, because there's not enough mass to throw off the inductive loop. We got some traffic talk in tonight. On the next episode, Josh tries to make springs. He's getting some spring steel and wrapping it around a gauge of some sort. Fill the shocks with putty. Oh my God. Here's a thought. Torsion springs. Oh, that's... Drive-through timers work the same way. Like drive-through restaurant timers. Okay. Some of them are cameras, though, I think, because they'll actually, like dual lane ones especially, because then they'll actually have some intelligence to track which car is coming in order, so that they know which order is supposed to be served at the windows. Too early for traffic talk. When does the heavy metal SCX-24000 start? Oh, that's good. These are all the parts from the budget build-off, the SCX-24 budget build-off that I didn't use, which I'm pretty sure I could end up building. What's all that? Oh, these are the Proline set. These are the new Mini Hyraxes, and they're little beadlocks, which just came in a bag. I think they were like pre-production. I didn't notice that these were in there, and I have no idea what they are. Interesting. I don't know what the purpose of that is. But I could probably build a SCX 24000 from what's in this box. There's definitely a lot of brass. I could build like a 10 shock rig. I think I have at least 5 sets of SCX 24 shocks in here. Do I have an SCX 24 in here? A new one? I do. Let's see. That would be a decent stream. So let's see. We've got one pair of shocks. That's a servo mount. Let's see if we come up with a little build list. I think we have a lot of wheels to choose from. Oh my God. Let's see. I do have some brass wheel weights. Let's see. Oh, metal drive shafts. I never put those on. More wheels. Lots of bodies. There's a handful of, well, here's like some of my prototype chassis when I was cutting those. Here's some like aftermarket carbon fiber. There's one of Nicole's hairs. I should really just try and upgrade that SCX-24 out of this box like the next time we're having open week. Just to see, because this box is absolutely ridiculous and out of hand. I want to see how many shocks I can bolt to one SCX-24. This is the SCX-24 that has the portals. Those are the Old Time RC portals. Who sponsored the Scale News Update this month after I had talked about their stuff for a while? And they're like, hey, we'll sponsor. I was like, hey, what do you know? Thanks. $10 on the box. No, sir. 11? Oh, bidding's going up. $5 for the hair. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Let's see. Low CG with some added wheel weights works. I don't know what we're talking about there. Let's see. I just drove through an area that had 17 mile an hour posted. I knew it wasn't enforceable because of you. Yes, lots of neighborhoods like to put up those ridiculous signs like 17 miles an hour. Well, you're welcome. That is not enforceable. The MUTCD says that has to be increments of 5 miles an hour. So just blast through there. They could still get you for like reckless driving, but they could not get you for a speed limit. What about the 128th scale drag? The associated one, that's not something I think that I would, not something I would find myself using at all. That's when are they releasing that VW Buck? I think that is actually coming fairly soon. I'm looking forward to that thing. That thing's pretty cool. I shipped the one that I had here to Matt already, but I'm looking forward to another one of those. $20, 21. We're up to $21 in the box already. So, RC snowmobile yet? Oh, Ryan, I know that would still be that would be a fun RC, even for me who doesn't like the snow. Josh could be on Tinder swiping right, and Nicole could catch him and be relieved he's not on A main. Yeah. The good thing is I do have all of those packages sent to work, so I can disassemble the box and just bring. I don't. Every time I still bring it. I brought in this Capra box tonight, and she was just shaking her head. Hey, all three of the trucks on this table have portals. What do you know? Have you gotten the 124th Trail Runner? Or Trail Finder? I have not. I don't think that that's one I'm going to pick up. Did you see that the Glacier square body truck says Chevrolet on the tailgate under the sticker? West doesn't really, yeah. That's such a weird thing because they're made by FMS still. And it's just like their other little brand that I think that they actually have some differences with like electronics quality and stuff. And they say they're unbranded, but it's the exact same body as the branded one. I think the FJ one, the FJ Cruiser, has a different name, but it still says Toyota on the grill. Like, Josh, check the Instagram. I sent you a cool 30-second video about engineering and four-wheel drive vehicles and might have some talking points that you could hit at. I don't normally do that during a stream, but mainly because I log on and I have 50. Oh, I know this one. It's the guy with the Legos and he does all the different size wheels and the gear reductions. It actually is a pretty cool video. Is that the one where he also does the tape where it actually crawls like negative angles? Every time Josh is on A-Main, he's spending money Nicole can spend on cats. How is the Enduro 24 compared to the Axials? I don't know that, although I know that it doesn't have... it's a regular ring and pinion, so it doesn't have as good a clearance. And I don't believe that it had... I think the power in it was pretty bad, too. I don't know if it was Trailfinder 24 bad, but yeah. The red does look good on the go. I'm telling you, I don't hate the red at all. I think it was a good choice. It's got a nice matte finish. It's not shiny where it looks too toyish. I don't mind it. I said before, I've not been a big fan of the Capras, but this one, the four-wheel steer and the changes that they made, or the choices that they made, I'm excited to see it, or to see it, go drive it. There we go. Not sure. I'm hoping to I might take this thing out to Folsom tomorrow. That might be a plan. I bought a G-Made only because it had a hard body Raptor. G-Made that had a hard body? That must have been a custom one. Cool model on the left. That's this left, my right, your left, screen left. Capra four-wheel steer. It is cool. I mean, they made some cool choices. So I'm looking forward to driving it. Red is as close to orange as Josh is going to get. I know they never said, honestly, I hadn't said anything, but I was I was waiting for this time to not get this color. This is the color that I wanted. So I'm glad that this is the one that came. My SCX24 portal upgrades works great. Awesome. Four-wheel steering. Did I miss something? This is, well, if you didn't, or if you did, this is the new Axial Capra four-wheel steer version. So, yes, four-wheel steer out of the box. Kind of cool. I'm excited. Josh, you're coming to Nebraska area for the holidays. I am, no, I'm going to, I will not be there for Christmas. So it'll be after the first of the year when I'm back in Nebraska. It's almost 10 p.m. here, so my Wi-Fi acts up. Your Wi-Fi has a clock? Or red great color. It's better than robin egg blue. Yeah, exactly. It's Kentucky sky, guys. Okay, let's see. What do you think about the latest truck releases? Am I the only one impressed on all the new kits and trucks available? It's been a good year in general. I mean, last year was a good year. This year, I think, was a good year. Just the hobby industry in general. I say this in a way that I hope everyone understands my context. But the hobby industry did really well during the pandemic. It was an industry that is, I'm not trying to say it in an insensitive way, but when people are stuck at home, they want things to do, and the hobby industry is what fills that void really well. So I think for that reason the hobby industry did well. I'm not saying it was good for the hobby industry. It's not good for anybody. Blah blah blah. I'm not trying to get anything. We don't talk politics of any sort on here, but I think that there was a lot of things that came out of that then allowed for new vehicles and new releases. Now, of course, there's been shortages of things also because of it. And that's that is a downside of it. So it's a wild thing, but all the new release of vehicles and things like that came out of a lot of that. So yeah, that's, again, not trying to get into the talk of that stuff, but there you go. Someone was asking wheelbase. I just wanted to double check. Yeah, this is still a 12.5-inch wheelbase. So no change to the wheelbase, just a little bit of change. A little bit of change back there. It's a hobby. People do hobbies at home when they're not. Yes, exactly. So, and it was so weird that I had been doing a little tiny bit of the streaming stuff beforehand, and I was just like, I really want to put like a nice streaming setup together, because before I had my laptop propped up and just kind of had some crappy lights, and I was just like, I want to do something solid. So that's when I built a computer for in here, and I got all the cards and all this, and just went kind of wild on that. And that was right before everything just went lockdown. So I had everything set up, and I was just like, oh, we're going to do a bunch of streaming. And it was so big during all of it. And it turned into something that I really enjoy. So, I mean, I was lucky that I decided to start that when I did. But man, what a terrible but fortunate bit of luck on my part, when that happened. So how had the biggest hand in the release of the Phoenix? Who had it? It's Brandon is like the design, the main person who's just like, he, most of the design stuff, or if not considering all of it. It's really just, I have to vote yes or no on everything. I'm kidding. We discuss everything. We look at the new designs. We say this or that. We all test. We do. But Brandon is like the designer on that type of stuff, and he does a great job. And he's got like such a cool design eye in so many ways. And he's got certain styles that you see. Now, Brandon was the design. He was at Axial previously years ago. he designed the Exoterra, the Yeti, the Bomber. Can't remember if I'm missing any. So, you know, did those, and then he came to us before Horizon bought Axial, and I've known Brandon for, on like a personal level, for, man, longer than I've known Nicole. Like 15 years, maybe, close to. Like, yeah. What do you think the next evolution in crawling? Oh, that's a great question. You should get Brandon on here. Brandon has 3 kids under 4. 2 are twins who are just over 1 year old. He has next to no time. One day I will. But yes. And even when I even call Brandon, I call him and I just hold my phone here, though, just in case the screaming from the children pierces through the phone. He's a very busy man. So, can we get a quick overview of the Capra? We did it a little bit earlier, but just in case you don't know, it is basically the exact same as the Capra from before. They simply added rear steer to it with a nice 5-position rear steer setup on the radio, which I'm a big fan of. It's exactly the way I would have wanted it if I had my choice. So you control it independently of the front, and then you have 50% and 100% each way. It's got an all-in-one system, which is a receiver ESC combo, 35 turn brush motor. And yeah, beyond that, cool new color, cool new livery. I think they did a good job. I like what they did there. Exo Yeti Bomber. Yeah, VP needs a tube buggy RC. I do love tube buggies. I would like to as well. I know what you mean. That's the, Brandon and I, so like when we were doing this rear cage, Brandon and I both have our own styles we like for tube work. But we also have very similar styles in a lot of ways. So it was, this tube cage that goes on the Phoenix isn't, an overly pronounced, roll bar hoop thing, but it's low profile. And I did a cage that was kind of like this on a Power Wagon build, if any of you guys remember, where I took a TRX4 axles and I put them under a VS410. And then I did a kind of a low profile cage like this that was all in the back. It was a little narrower, but it was still a fun little cage build, but low profile, all below the bed sides. And then, I like very, straight is strong style for my tube work, where Brandon has a little bit more, of some of the other, maybe more bends or swoops or things like that. But he did a great job with this one, but I know we went back and forth on some stuff. It's a fun effort. It's fun to get, like, that's what we talk about at work. Like, listen, the tube structure, the tube design on our toy truck should be how I want it. Like, it's pretty good days at work. I'm very lucky. I feel very lucky to be able to do what I do. So you and Brandon are both fans of the 1.6 Bomber. You should be making next, right? Yeah. That is one thing. The Vanquish is a small company. So, we're small. The cost of what it took Horizon to do what they did for an SCX6 is it's outrageous, and it's awesome that they were able to do that, to be able to allow us to get it. Trust me, that there's so much into that thing. Like, I'm amazed at what they were able to do, and that it only costs $1,100. I know that that's a wild saying for most, but seeing it, I'm just like, I don't know how anybody else could have ever done that for what that is, for that price, licensed, big brushless, the size, the shipping, everything, like, wild. Super impressive to me. The more and longer I work in the field, the more I appreciate all of the things that I see in it. So, is Vanquish doing any Black Friday stuff? possibly, do it open source, part by part. And then when you're finished, it can all be knocked off already. You can give away all of your design stuff. After buying the SCX6 and play it with it, I can agree it's crazy how awesome it is. See, I'd like to talk to somebody who bought it and didn't find the same. That is what Bill says. Found the 7mm, 8mm lug nut adapter in the unopened spare parts bag that was hiding from me. Thanks, Josh. Glad you found it. Glad you didn't buy another one when it was in there already. For VP being so small, getting the Phoenix kit at $4.99, very impressive. A lot of work that went into that. It's still expensive for a kit. Totally understand that. But pretty proud of what that kit is for the money. Element axles, links, shocks, and trans fit into a Capra cage, by the way. You use SCX10 servo on axle. There is that. I know what you mean. That I do like the look of when they do the regular like AR44 width on there. If I was going to do it, I think I would use Axial axles though, instead of the elements. I think that I don't know, the ring gear popping on the elements are just a pain, and you can get so many more upgrades for the AR44 stuff. So RCC Live needs a reboot. Oh yes, that would be fun. Wonder what kind of backbone still exists there. I heard no comps with the SCX6 for now. Thoughts? Doesn't surprise me. I don't think it would be a big class anyway, so I'm fine with it. Like, also, if it really, man, it would be so tough to travel with that SCX6. The SCX6 is a perfect example how something can be a good value but not be cheap. $1,100 is a ton of cash for an RC, but the money is absolutely there. It is. I said that in the videos, and I tried to express that as best I could. The brushless system alone is a big cost. Like the huge metal links and the amount of plastic there, that size of that body, ridiculous. Like, so if I wanted to buy the new Diff oil plug for the F10, would that also fit in the F9 aluminum axles also? Yes, it would. I don't know if those are available separately, just that plug. But it would. It's an M4 thread on that, so it's the same as on the aluminum axles. Take it easy, Ryan. Later. I want an SCX6, but don't know what I would do with it. I know what you mean, but honestly, you can run it in the exact same places that you can run a 1/10 scale. Like, you really can. It doesn't necessarily need bigger terrain. I ran it at the exact same places that I normally run my 1/10 scale on the same terrain, and honestly, it was harder to run it on that terrain than the 1/10 scale stuff, just because just the size of the stuff you're trying to go on. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Bulletin boards are so 1990s. I know, but they were so much better. God, the lack of information retention that happens on social media now, it drives me nuts. Like, the only way that you can put up information and have it be just like still available for someone to reference is a video. That's the only way. And it takes, there's so much. I do miss boards for so many of those reasons. Traxxas needs to update their TRX4 platform. It's an interesting, it's a good point. This platform is like 4 years old now, which isn't that old really. The SCX10 basically came out about the same time, and obviously it got replaced, but it's not necessarily what Traxxas does. Traxxas can keep running with a platform, and it does its job pretty well. I don't know. I could see them adding a platform, but I don't know that they need to replace the TRX4. I think they did pretty good. Yes, hit the like button before any of you leave, or when you leave, or hit the dislike. I don't care. Hit one or the other. They all do the same thing. Either way, they're good for the video. YouTube is a better format. It can be, but it can also be more difficult to get. Like, there's benefits here and there. It's a tough one. How old was the SCX10? Original SCX10 came out in 2000 and let's see, 9 or 10? 2009, and then it was replaced in 2016. The new one came out in early 2016. So, you know, it was around that. Let me see. I think I have, well, I know I have the actual info on, let's see. Let me go to my history of RC crawling document. History of RC crawling, SCX10 released, let's see, 2006, 7, 2008. That's all 8, 2009. Yeah, 2009. January 28th, 2009 is when it was shown first on the RCC live stream. And then it was officially released on 3/25 of 2009. So there you go. That's, I knew I was in there somewhere. It was about right. When did the Axial Wraith 1.9 come out? That came out in 2019, the summer-ish of 2019, if I remember correctly. What's your oldest crawler? My oldest crawler is, I think it's my Ripper. I don't really keep trucks all that long. I don't really have like I mean, I don't really have a huge sentimental attachment. But, you know, it's so like oftentimes I just sell my trucks and they keep going. Now there's some trucks now that I will keep longer. The Ripper, I really don't ever have any plans on selling. Let's see, you know, my Pro or my Ultra, you know, those were the trucks used for the video. So I really don't plan on selling those, you know, so it's little things here and there. A non-portal TRX4 would be a cool addition to the TRX4 line trucks. I know what you mean there, and it's an easy thing for them to do. I also think that TRX4 buyers are just they like their portals. I was trying to find my Wraith 1.9 release date. Your EXO is the oldest. That is not my original EXO, though. So I don't think that has to count. I think that can... I think that can count as a... Oh, dang. Even the Capra's getting... September 30th, the Capra of 2019. I didn't think that it was that old. And I guess that seems about right. 2019 wasn't that long ago. But... Tears shed as part members of the... Oh, yeah. Saying... There's a... Oh, what... Tony's sending me a picture of him making jerky. He's teasing me. Josh has no time for sentiment. Right? There's no time for that. There's no crying in baseball. But, well, it is 8:10. That is not as late as we normally go on Fridays, but it's just been me talking this entire time. So, oh, there we have a second email. I know what that sound is now, though. Flex Friday for the Capra. Oh, there you go. There's your Flex Friday on the TRX 4000. What happens if I try and flex the TRX 4000? That is something I haven't tried to do. See if it will crush the tire of the... Not too bad. Not as badly as I would have thought. You can tell that it's screaming on the inside. We'll move that in a moment. All right. That is going to do it for tonight. Not the Not the reaction I would expect from meat pics from a man. When did they discontinue the Vitera line? 2020, I think. Yes, you need to have the S66 motor set up in the TRX 4000. All right, that's gonna do it. I'm heading out. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you to everyone who donated. I appreciate it. I didn't have my proper stuff up. I know Crawler Baller, Bill Darris, Dale C, Squints Paladoris, but I don't have any of the other info past there, so I apologize. Hit the like button before you leave. Hope you have an awesome weekend. I'm probably going to try and get some more videos out for the weekend and over the time, unless I hold them and try and have them. Oh, next Friday night I will not be here. Holidays and all. I hope you all have a good holiday break. I'm not going to be there on Wednesday either, so it's going to be Matt on his lonesome. Hopefully he's feeling better. Yeah, with that, still see you for the Scale News update. I'll see you for some other videos. Try and get some stuff scheduled so there's still some entertainment to be had. Appreciate it. Again, thank you. And right before the end, Billy Goodman, much appreciated. If you come to South Mississippi, check out RC Outlaws. I will be down there, but it's going to be a quick trip. I don't know. Flying into Louisiana, I'm going to go over to Biloxi, basically, Gulfport, be there, but I don't know how far everything is from that area. So regardless, you can shoot me an email or Instagram, Facebook message, and always worth checking. Sometimes there's a day to go drive around, do some stuff. So again, thanks everybody. We'll see you on the next one.